Hey, hi, welcome to the channel. It's Jim. It's, what day is it? It's Thursday night. I just wanted to, you've seen the new intro, the Marvel comic universe. Well, you've also seen Avengers Assemble. Well, now we have Reactors Assemble. That is right. So not only do you have me, you also have Dr. Doug. Bum, bum, bum. We have Dean the Prog Dog. And also, we're now bringing in Superboy and Supergirl. It's Nick and Lex. Hey, hey everybody! Welcome to the channel. This is so cool. Hi.
Thank you.
Hello.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Jim, for doing this. This was.
I don't know. It's kind of just seems like a bit like a glitch in the Matrix, doesn't it? Having all these different faces on the screen together.
Your eyes do not deceive. In a world gone mad.
Do you do voiceover work?
No, I should.
You
Is
should.
it show reel?
I did actually. I did when I interviewed Ari and Lucasen of Arion.
Yeah.
We had technical difficulties with our mics getting started, and so I was like, as we were getting started, I was doing that. He's like, "What just happened?" I was like, I said, I'm auditioning to be on your next record. You know,
Star one.
You know, I think I did. Something like that.
It could.
I don't
happen.
really have a low voice, but I can do that a little. You know, sing bass and choir enough.
I can do the trailer guys sometimes in the mornings.
Yeah.
I'm like in the city.
We must fight to survive.
Yeah. Yeah. Schwarzenegger. But yeah.
I don't know if this is going to work. If you have an empty cup, you can do a really good Darth Vader impression. I don't know if you've ever done that.
Oh yes.
You have, you know it. But,
I mean Star
don't
Wars
know.
impressions are
have I got anything nearby? No, it's got too much coffee in it, so I can't do it. Hold on.
you're like
Jack.
Oh, Lord. Right. Okay.
Sister. So, you have a twin sister.
That is
You will not turn to the
amazing.
dark side, then perhaps she will.
That's the secret.
It's just the cup.
yes.
That's amazing.
And you can just do an Obi-Wan Kenobi just by talking.
I can't remember how he goes. So like this, doesn't he?
Well, like say hello there. Hello there.
Hello there.
I love it.
I love it.
That's awesome.
So, to anybody watching this, the premise of this is we just thought we'd sort of have a sort of just a reactors gathering and just sort of have a chat, maybe once every month or two, and just see how it goes. We're not going to play any music particularly. Well, certainly not today. We might do in the future. There may be more people come, maybe people go, or just sort of come and go. But we just thought it'd be a lovely thing to do rather than just all the time churning out reaction videos and stuff, just something a bit different. So, Doug, you had a really good idea. One of the things you wanted to do, you was talking about sort of origin stories, about sort of how we all got to be where we are and what we're doing. Not in life, well, maybe in life, but it's just on YouTube.
The year was 1970. No.
Do you guys remember the 1970s?
No.
Nope.
Sorry.
I was right at the very cusp of the end, the beginning of the 70s. I was born in 1970. But,
Yeah, but I was thinking about I spend so much time creating content. I don't get a chance to watch a lot of other folks doing their thing, and so I've gotten a chance to connect with Jim in the past, and so I know Jim, but I don't know a whole lot of other folks and what like your point of view is. And so as I was like, I've heard of Dean, I know Dean, and I've seen Nick and Lex a little bit, but I'm not really sure like what the story is, and so I thought that might be kind of fun for us to all chat about as we get to know each other, and maybe our audience doesn't know either.
I like that.
Yeah.
I really like that.
So it's like being back at school. Who's going to put their hand up first? Okay. I started this in 2018, so I'm just coming up to 5 years doing a channel like this. initially I did it really just as something very fun to do, to share a couple of videos with friends. So I'd seen some reaction videos online and I thought they were kind of a bit, I don't know, why am I watching this sort of thing? And so the more I watched it, the more I got sucked into it. And I thought, this is really good fun. I could do this to share some of this amazing new music I've heard with my friends. And that's really what it was for. And the weird thing is, none of my friends commented on it, but other people started to pick up on it. So I started to get comments coming in and people saying, oh, really like that. I suggest you do this. So, oh my God, people are talking. Do I dare talk back? So after 2 or 3 days, I replied really nervously to some of the comments, and then I just started going after that. So it was really not intentional at all. I was mainly really going to do maybe 2 or 3 videos and then sort of just get on with the rest of my life and forget about it. And it didn't quite turn out like that. Then I suppose what happened? There's a I won't go too much detail about this, but our family life changed. So we took guardianship of a little boy, and so I then stopped full-time work. I sort of gave up my career to be a full-time carer, and that has then sort of freed up a lot of time at different times of the day that I can do this. So this is kind of what I do other than work, although it's not enough hours to do full-time job, but so I do this to sort of fill up a lot of the time, and that's where we are. That's me. That's my background. Before
you mostly work off of vinyl, and
I use records. Yeah, mostly that's kind of my gig.
Cool.
I didn't start off doing that. I was just doing just songs, and it was ripping it off YouTube. But then I thought, actually, I love records. Can I work out a way to play a record? And I sussed it out. It took me ages. And then
I've always wondered how you do it. I have no idea.
It took such a long time to work it out. But it was trial and error, and it was plugging things in and so changing audio settings on the computer, breaking the computer for about 5 days, not getting any sound out at all. So, just like all the usual sort of trials and tribulations. You've had the same thing, Doug, haven't you?
I gave up.
Yeah.
I gave up. Well, I have my
but
turntable right here, and I love it. And when I use LPs, I'll take the time to just import the audio and then go in, and if there's any pops or big time cracks or anything, I can clean it up.
Yeah.
But it takes time to do that, so I don't do it often.
Yeah.
But when it's really sort of an important listen, I'll do that.
I just go live with it, so I can record the audio at the same time as I'm listening to it, at the same time as I'm filming. So if there are imperfections, they're in there as part of the charm of what it is. Because there's a lot of audiophiles don't like records, or they don't like old records. I kind of really like it. I like the sort of slightly dog-eared sleeves you get, and the nicks and marks on there, because it tells a history. You don't know what the history is, you only guess at what it is, but it's who knows how many hands that record's gone through before it's come to me, and what the stories are you can tell. It's quite awesome. It's like having an old book, isn't it? Which has got
pretty great.
Some enigmatic notes written in it. But anyway, yes, that's my thing. I love playing old vinyl, which is kind of what I do. So yeah, lots of old 70s stuff. Lots of it.
So you get all your vinyls, like you buy them, or you collect them?
Yeah,
and
no,
wow.
I do. Yeah, I do a lot of trawling off, getting stuff off eBay, and charity shops, and Discogs as well. So if they come off Discogs, they tend to be better, more looked after.
Wow.
But I sort of quite often managed to get hold of a sort of job lot. I had a really good one back in the summer. I bought a job lot from a radio station clear out. So they were all really quite good quality.
That's awesome.
Maybe played about 4 or 5 times each. And it cost quite a big chunk of money. I had to pay £100, but it was like then £2 a record because there's 50 records in there. And there's some awesome records. So actually, that's a really cool thing to do.
Nice.
I'm just slowly working through them now.
Good deal.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. That's my.
What
thing.
does a pound equal in American dollars? I don't know what that is.
They're almost parity now, I think.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
The pound is not very strong.
Yeah, it's lost some value this last year, hasn't
A
it?
lot, yeah.
It used to be like $1.50 or $1.60 was like £1 pound.
Yeah,
I think something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So
Like the euro.
Like the euro, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
actually, I can have a look on the phone. I can tell you exactly what it is.
And how about you, Dean? How did you start in all of this?
Well, my channel was originally just for guitarists. I did guitar lessons. Actually, I didn't even do guitar lessons. I just did gear review, you know. I mean, most of us are musicians here, I guess, right? Or Jim, you're not a musician, or is everyone a musician?
I'm a drummer and a keyboard player.
Oh, okay.
So no, not a musician. Not.
So I get these little pedals, you know, and I do a demo of them, and then I started doing some guitar lessons, and I did a guitar lesson for Yes Roundabout, and that one really took off. And I thought, oh, okay, so I'll focus on some lessons. So I started doing lots of lessons, and of course, I'm a prog rock fan, so I just shared lessons for Rush and Yes and stuff that I've learned over the years. And then my wife said, she started watching some React channels, and she said, have you thought of doing Reacts? And I'm like, get out of here. I'm not going to do that. That's so dumb. Yeah. And then actually it started to sink in. Oh, okay. Once again, my wife was right. And so I did some React videos, and then I realized, well, of course I'm going to do progressive rock Reacts, but is there enough out there to react to? I mean,
Right,
I knew all the stuff previous to the 90s, right? I knew all of that stuff, and I had no idea there was so many new prog rock bands. So there was plenty of material. So that's basically how I got going. Yeah.
Cool. How long ago was that?
Probably about 28 months ago or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, that's about the same time. We just had our 2-year like kind of channel versary or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. I love that. So you already knew all of the 70s, like Yes and Rush and all of
that. I didn't know Gentle Giant. I didn't know Camel. So there are plenty still to listen to from then. Yeah. But Yes and Rush and King Crimson, I knew a lot of it already. So yeah.
So funny because ours is like a little bit, but al revés. Backwards. Yeah, like Spanish. I'm stuck. Yeah, it's like backwards because I knew I got into all the like Dream Theater and, you know, Enchant and Watchtower and all that stuff, like with Tension. And I thought, oh man, I know so much about music, right? And then we kind of like by accident stumbled into all the older stuff. So that's, yeah. And I was also doing like, we were doing all kinds of stuff. We were doing some gaming on the channel.
Yeah, those are fun.
And then I would upload like guitar solos or also like gear review and what else? Unboxings, right? We do unboxings. And we're like huge cinephiles. So we watch a lot of movies. So we wanted to make like movie reviews. And then I used to get all these copy strikes because I used to upload like concerts. But
he'd upload like this like clandestine like stuff that nobody knew, you know, like not that nobody knew, but just stuff that maybe wasn't out there that he wanted to listen to, like
Aldi Meola and
Alan Holdsworth, Soft Machine.
And that's when we got our big like strike, and then we got 2, and I was like, oh god. So for like months there was no activity, and then she was like, why don't you do like a reaction
I was like, why don't you just show me the music that you're uploading?
And then first I thought that's a horrible idea, I could never do that. And then I watched we watched one, and then you were like also like, oh god, this is horrible. But I guess then we did the
Peter Gabriel in Your Eyes, and like 5 times throughout the video we're like, this is a test, this will not be published. But I was more curious to see if I would be able to like act myself in front of the camera. That was my big thing, like, and that's why throughout the video. But then like we got emotional, and then it was like a song we'd already heard, but it just hearing it like submerging yourself with the headphones. But
no, we didn't have headphones.
Oh no,
we hadn't figured out.
Yeah, you're right. We had
with the microphone.
Yeah,
there's a really big learning curve, isn't there? How to make a reaction video.
I want to do this, but I don't know how.
Yeah. So a guy in the comments told us like you have to do this and that, and then it took us like a year to figure out the in-picture reaction.
Yeah, like
put
video.
Up the video and react to the video. and it's just hilarious. But yeah, that's how he started. Right?
Yeah, but I also remember like when we actually decided to upload it, because we're like, man, this was good. It was great because I don't know, just reacting or like spontaneous moments that you knew were coming, but just knowing that they were coming was awesome. But I remember also getting comments from people and I'm like, oh my God, people are watching, that was just a feeling that I'm like, wow, now they want to listen to this. And now they're suggesting this. What is this? I've never heard of this. And then we got into this like deep hole of music that we had never heard of because like Nick is from Germany and I'm was born in the States, but was raised between Mexico and the US. And we met in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, where we were both living. But, when we were living there, it was like there was one music store. You'd go to this one guy and be like, hey, could you get this album? Or you'd buy what he had, which was mainly just like greatest hits and stuff that isn't very deep, So that's why we don't know all of this stuff. And when downloading music came about, it was just like, I would download what I knew and I would download maybe one song of that album. I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to download the whole album because it took like 4 hours to download one song, Sure. So, but yeah, that's why, because a lot of people are just asking like, how is it that you play guitar and you don't know all this stuff?
Yeah, there was this comment like, how do you play guitar like this way and you don't know Yes or Genesis or Rush? And then I listed like 50 bands that I knew after all these bands, like, and
yeah, you just go down a path and then you never think like,
and I really thought I knew a lot, but I didn't, so it's just so crazy that there's so much music, like just like you said, Gentle Giant. I mean, they're so big, but they're a certain progressive, they have like their following, like Rush. Like I didn't know Rush. I knew Rush, but I knew Tom Sawyer, but that's it. And I don't know. I never really thought, oh, I'm gonna listen to them. Like, and now I'm wearing a T-shirt. It's like, but yeah, because they're so amazing. And then if you listen to other bands, you can hear so many parts that where they took their inspiration.
That's the fun part where it all starts connecting. Like,
I made a comment on one of my early Yes videos. I was like, oh, we're now moving into Rush territory. And I meant it as in that this sounds like that's the only thing I could liken it to, because I knew Rush, but I didn't know Yes. I knew obviously Rush came after Yes, but the comments are, you got that the wrong way round. Yes came first. Rush are just a tribute act. I didn't mean that. I mean, honestly, I really.
I know. Yeah, they're very passionate. Yes. I remember when we did our first Genesis reaction, and he's like, oh, you're doing this reaction to my favorite band. And it was like literally Phil Collins' Genesis, like What the Rainbow.
Oh, Silver Rainbow. Someone said.
And we thought we were listening to the Prog stuff. We had no idea of Peter Gabriel and stuff. But it's such a journey.
Fun, cool. It's a lot of fun, and it's brought us so much, just knowing so much more music, and you really miss out.
Yeah, and also in the pandemic, we were just listening to like one record.
Exactly.
And it was like this weird German music that she was obsessed with. And then when we did the channel, we were like, and I would play her anything like that was a little bit, with guitars.
Yeah.
She was like, oh God, like turn it off.
One of our first Dream Theater reactions, I was like, it's very busy. And now I'm like, love.
She understands all the time signatures. And it's really cool.
Yeah.
Doug, what about yours?
Well, it was. It's weird for me. You can see my diploma on the wall there. I got my doctorate in music in 2008. I was going to be a composer and a professor and work in higher education in America and do my thing. And I did for a good 10 or 12 years. And the school where I was teaching at, Westminster Choir College, is kind of going through a generational shift and change. So they're trying to find their way right now, and combine that with the pandemic arriving in 2020. me being a theory professor for in higher education at a college where we had a whole bunch of vocalists, and it's now dangerous, potentially to sing.
Yeah.
It was they were like, I got laid off, so I didn't have a gig, and higher ed just was not hiring. Like it was across the board. It was, and I was like, what the hell is going on? What am I going to do? And we got by on through a lot of help from our friends, and through the church where I work provided us with a lot of great stuff, and it just bought me some time to figure out what I was going to do next. And I started doing the Daily Doug thing, not with music. It was in the lead up to the election, the 2020 election in America. And I had stuff on my mind, and I needed to just, process it. And so I started it just as a way for me to just talk to my phone and, do something positive with my day as I was looking for a job and looking for gigs. And it was a similar story to y'all. It was a family member. It was my brother, who was like, during the pandemic, he's got more downtime. He's watching reaction channels, and he's like, you could do this, man. You could totally do that. Like, what are you trained to do? You're used to talking about music in front of people. Yeah. So I've got, thankfully, 12 to 15 years of experience in the classroom being a teacher. And so that's where my impetus was. And the reason why I don't know a whole lot of this music is because I just never had a spare moment to spend looking at all of this music, because I was you're responsible for knowing a whole lot of repertoire over a vast number of years. And if you don't recognize a theme, people like you have to know that stuff. So I immerse myself in academic music, classical music, and repertoire throughout the ages, and working on my own stuff. Yeah. And of course, I know the names of the big classic bands, Pink Floyd and Yes and Rush and Led Zeppelin and go down the list, right? But I don't know the Who. I don't know a lot of the repertoire, though. I hear the name Tommy. I don't know the music. I hear Quadrophenia. I don't know the music. I hear, like, yes. Oh, you mean Owner of a Lonely Heart? They're like, no, different band. Genesis, Land of Confusion. No, sorry, different band. Because I was born in 77, and so in a relatively non-musical family. I also grew up in a sports family. So whenever, like in the evening time, I wasn't putting records on, I was listening to the Cardinals game on the radio. So I was listening to games and watching games and broadcasts as a kid and not learning music. And then by the time I decided to become a musician, I had to catch up, and I had to spend all my time, learning the Beethoven symphonies and the Mozart symphonies. And then, they wrote piano concertos, and there's this guy named Bach, you got to know his stuff, and on and on and on and on. And I did higher ed for 10 years to get my 3 music degrees, and all my degrees are in theory and composition. And so it just infused the way that I listen to music, the way that I process music. And teaching at Westminster, teaching at such high level vocalists, world-renowned vocalists have come through the school, and you really have to have your ear training down as a vocalist. It's your biggest tool besides your actual vocal cords, right? So we really put the students through the ringer with the ear training. And so when you're the teacher doing that, you got to be a little bit better than the kids.
You got to be on the game, haven't you?
Right? Yeah. And just doing it day in and day out for years and years and years, you get like it's second nature. And so when I started doing these, it was just a natural thing for me to just, this is my classroom. I'm looking. Hi, y'all. I'm going to talk to everybody. This is what's going on. And it was just this past week we was
you reacted to your first video.
I reacted to, yeah, so we did
thank
that
you.
Too. It's
that was
fun, right? It was like meta Doug, they said. It was me reacting to me reacting to but it was I had no clue what I was doing. I had less than 200 subscribers 2 years ago, and now I think we're at 270. It's nuts. 270,000.
A quarter
that
of a
is
million.
Great.
Wow. It's crazy.
Of a million.
Yeah, that's multiple football stadiums of people that have clicked the button. It's a lot of, like, I take that like as responsibility. Oh, these people are putting faith in me. I better do something.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
It took us 3 or 4 months of doing them occasionally. I was still trying to look for a job, and until I finally figured out I can monetize enough and get enough kind of can get through, and then we can maybe do and once the Patreon got going and people responded pretty well to that, I'm like, I think we can give this a go. So it's been, for the last year and a half, my full-time gig.
That's awesome.
Doug, I'm just curious, was there one video that just exploded, or was it very gradual?
It kind of was gradual, but I had the help of the Iron Maiden fans and the Nightwish fans early on. That they didn't care if 40 people had watched it. They'll give it a shot. If it says Iron Maiden, we're clicking on it. That's what these fans have told me, and God bless them. But it was really sort of a month, like 3 or 4 months in. I think in a 3 or 4 week period, I did the Count of Tuscany from Dream Theater, Octavarium from Dream Theater, Close to the Edge from Yes, and I think Supper's Ready from Genesis. And it was like casting a wide net, and the Prog fans came calling. Oh, I think Echoes, like a live version of Echoes, was in there as well. And like a 4 or 5 week period, and I didn't even really realize at the time how big those songs were. It was just another recommendation from another YouTube comment.
Yeah.
And then you look back, like the very first one, like I had 200 subscribers, and I wasn't expecting, like all of y'all, wasn't expecting anybody to watch. I came back to it 4 or 5 days later. I'm like, why have 5,000 people watch that? Amazing. I better look at the comments. It's been quite a ride, and the enthusiasm of the music fans are what I think for all of us pull us along.
Absolutely.
It's just you're just running to keep up.
The passion and the enthusiasm, and that's it.
And I love like reading the comments and learning stuff through the comments of speaking of all of the changes and everything that's happened there is just, how do they know? But because they were literally following along as it was happening. So for them, they relate it to, when I was in this year of high school, or when I was with this person in high school, this happened, this person left or this person came in. But for us coming in and jumping in, but it's like you said, bless them, because they are here to teach us and guide us along. That's what I always say.
Music helps us feel a memory. And when people get to experience that memory while having the novelty of being able to observe someone making their own new memory of that, it's like catnip. I had the same reaction as some of y'all about reaction videos. It's like, oh, whatever, but I think the magic of it is that we really do never get a second chance to have that first time experience. And I long for that with some of my favorites over the years. And if I've got a favorite and somebody else gets to experience that, then I want to experience it with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if they don't know what they're talking about.
That's the best part, is that they have no
they're
idea.
So you know, I
They're
sometimes get in my head. I'm like, oh, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Just enjoy it. They're just here, to watch you enjoy it. You know? So it's
yeah.
It's an amazing gift,
cool.
music.
I love that you mentioned. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Doug, aren't you on the heels of Rick Beato? I mean, I didn't know your numbers were so high. I mean, that you're getting up there. Rick Beato's right now kind of, I don't know if you agree or not, but with this what makes the song great. I've watched a bunch of his videos. Have you guys all watched Rick?
We love Rick. For years we've watched him. Like before we started YouTubing or whatever. We used to be avid watchers. It was like my go-to. Yeah. But I think he's way up there. We just saw. I think he's at 2 million.
3
million.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
Crazy, but he
has also like Pat Metheny on. He has all these like amazing, like what Ali Miola interviews, or I don't know, all these.
He actually interviews completely humongous great stars, isn't he?
I know.
Yeah.
Really great content.
Yeah. He's got, I could imagine his little black book is amazing. All his contacts he's got in there. So who can I phone up today?
But he's a Prog fan though.
He's a music fan, I think, generally.
Yeah.
I don't think he differentiates between modern pop music, which he says he'll listen to it. Actually, this is really good. I like this. I'll break this down so I can hear the key change, what they're doing. Or country, or gospel, or soul, or as you say, prog. I mean, he just loves music, and we'll talk about it for hours.
I've had the pleasure of chatting with Rick on the phone.
Have you?
We chatted for about 45 minutes. In fact, he was at the time he was in New York right before he was going to interview Sting. And so I got to know about that before everybody else, which was kind of fun. But
that was a great one.
He's the real deal. I really admire Rick's work ethic. It takes a lot of work. He's been at this a long time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he puts up top-notch quality stuff.
He definitely does.
I love the way when he his kids are like, they have perfect pitch and oh my God.
That was the first video I ever saw of him when you're like, look at this guy.
Yeah, he was just calling out notes, and he was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, he literally knew the chord structure, not just the note, the chord, which is insane.
His son,
Yeah. But I loved how he was like, well, sometimes when I tell people that don't watch YouTube, it's like, what do you do for a living? And he's like, well, actually, he says he doesn't say
content
YouTube
creator.
Yeah, but he doesn't say YouTuber. He says still that he's a
educator,
producer.
All right.
I think a producer, because it's so weird to say, okay, I'm a YouTuber. It's just like, because there's so many YouTubers out there that do so many different things. So it's almost like.
But for you, Doug, that it's been your full-time job, do you find it like weird or awkward to tell people that, or like people that you don't know, if that comes?
Not anymore. It was strange at first, but in 2023, it's not uncommon for somebody to be able to make a living working on the internet.
No,
so it's not as odd, I think, as it once was. Yeah.
Maybe in the early days it would have been weird, like 2005 when YouTube came out. A YouTuber, what? But you're right.
Well, talking about Rick Beato, it kind of leads on to something I was going to ask everybody. Do you have favorite YouTubers that you sort of regularly? I mean, obviously you said Rick Beato, and present company excluded. Who do you watch? Who do you watch? Not necessarily regularly, but sort of from time to time. You say, that video's popped up. I'd like to go and see what he's up to or she's up to. Is there anybody?
For me, there's a guy named Just JP. I think that's what it's called.
Just JP.
Oh my God,
he's very cool.
Yeah, I like him.
He's a reactor.
And other than that, I'm just very random. It depends on the song, I guess, and the algorithm, what it churns up for my homepage or whatever.
Is it always music that you gravitate to, Dean?
On YouTube, you mean, when I go for videos?
Yeah.
I watch some political ones too. But I mean, I watch anything and everything on YouTube. It's kind of a home away from home for me.
Well, now it just popped into my head. Our favorite YouTuber is that Stuckman, right?
Oh yeah, we love Chris Stuckman. Like a movie.
He's a movie reviewer, and he doesn't spoil the movies.
He's awesome.
He's amazing.
And
he's
then
working on his first actual like movie himself. Like he got funded. Amazing. I'm so happy for him.
Chris Stuckman, and then Jeremy Johns.
Jeremy Johns is like not that much because he does so many jump cuts.
Yeah.
And like that. He just sits there and talks, and he can talk about movies for hours, and it's just like the same stuff that we watch movies. We're not into like the Marvel and stuff. We watch more. Sorry if I'm offending someone.
No, not at all.
But she's a DC girl though. But we watch like, I don't know, more like Stanley Kubrick stuff and the old stuff. Just like
I just feel like his views on movies perfectly align with ours. So sometimes before going to watch a movie, or even after, like literally we leave the theater, we'll be playing Chris Stuckman in the car on the way home to see if he felt the same way that we do.
But I'm a huge geek. Like I'm into Star Wars and all that stuff, and I got her into Game of Thrones and Star Wars. But I still have to work on the whole Marvel universe with her. I don't know. She's just like, why not?
Not happening.
Not working.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
hey.
hello.
There you go.
I've got. I don't know if y'all can see.
Yeah.
I've got. There's Yoda.
Oh, there
There's Yoda.
Of course. Where's our Star Wars stuff here?
I've got.
Oh, there they are. Look.
There's the choir.
Oh,
right.
Awesome.
And
There's
Ray's back there. My Ray bobblehead.
Oh, that's
Ray.
awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. So Ray's back there.
Love it. Yeah, we've got a bunch of like Lego stuff here.
Star Wars, but only
Nice.
Star Wars. Like,
Yeah.
There's
But-
R2.
But yeah, that's probably I think the the channel we watch the most, I think, is
Chris Stuckman.
I think. But other than that, I don't frequent YouTube very much. Unlike you, Dean, I mainly just use it to create, but I'm not so much a consumer, and I don't feel I ever was. Like even before starting the channel, I don't feel that I would watch YouTube that frequently. So that's why I was so unsure if I would be able to create, because I wasn't basing it off of anything else that I had seen either. So but yeah, I do know that we prefer kind of like the one take. I think all of us here do mainly just like one take versus
I do edit it
many
a bit.
cuts.
So I have occasionally I might start coughing or sort of
yeah.
I was like, oh shit, I can't, what am I saying? I was like, oh, don't worry, you can cut this out. You can cut this out. Look it up. Yeah, that's it. That's what I say.
We do it too sometimes.
Yeah, or like if an ad comes on or something. But yeah.
It depends. I just did a video where it took hours to edit. I've been doing a video about topographic oceans.
You have.
And of course, I have to edit all the stuff together, make it interesting. So
right.
I enjoy editing. Actually, I do it a little bit here and there in my reviews as well.
That was a great video. Really good.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to do. Doug, I hope we'd get you on that. And also Lex and Nick, you guys got to do on that video. My next part too.
Yes.
Yeah, that album we have not explored yet in full. Actually, speaking of I wanted to give a shout out to Jim for his awesome I don't know, what would you call it, like a
I don't know what are you talking. Oh, well, the blog post type thing.
The blog post on Close to the Edge. It was spot on. While I was reading it, my eyes were tearing up because I'm like, Oh my God, I feel like I'm listening to the song. She's
literally tearing up right now. But when we're driving in the car and we listen to Yes, she literally cries in the car.
But the organ, like when the organ kicks in, and then when Jim was the organ, oh my God, that organ.
I was trying to write it in the way that I was thinking of it when I listened to it sort of 18 months ago, 2 years ago, whatever it was. Trying to remember what it was. And I was like, okay, I'll watch the video of me doing that reaction and then try typing it up as I go along. So what was I thinking at this stage? And so this bit sounds like rhubarb and custard. Nobody knows what that is unless you so there's this children's TV program in the 1970s called Rhubarb and Custard. It was a cartoon, the dog and a cat, and it had the theme tune was this absolutely mad synth part, but it was the same synth sound that comes in after that really majestic Rick Wakeman organ piece in the middle, close to the edge, and it cuts into that sort of ding 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 that bit. It's the same thing. I just call it the rhubarb and custard part, and it's and quite a lot of people say, yes, it is. And I've never heard that before, and suddenly realised that that's what they're listening to.
And that's why I enjoyed reading it so much, just because it literally felt like step by step how I felt. So for those watching, please go check out Jim's post. It's very, very cool. But sorry, Doug, I interrupted you.
No. I've done over 500 episodes, and Close to the Edge is the only song that has practically moved me to tears while I've been recording. Because I'm in teacher mode, and so I tend not to get as like, I wouldn't really break down in the middle of a song if I know that I'm in active teacher mode. So I never really allow myself to get there.
That makes sense.
But that one broke through, and at that specific moment.
Have you?
It's
I think it happened to us all. Yeah.
Have you listened to Awaken?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the one that really got me. And in fact, I've gone back and made probably 3. I think I've done 4 videos for Awaken now, all different versions. So I did the original one off the album, going for the one, which was the absolutely just incredible moment that could never be repeated. I was sitting here where I am now, and it was daytime, and the window was open there. And just as the crescendo, it builds and builds and builds, was this kite, which is a bird of prey, just started circling around overhead. And I said, I cannot believe what I'm seeing. It's just an absolutely priceless, perfect moment. And so everyone just, people could still comment now, say, oh, you got to watch this video if you have another kite moment. So they're going to say, oh, really? Then I did another one where I took the same version, but I took it out and sat next to a lake and filmed it outside.
I saw that one, Jim. That was great.
Cool.
Oh, that's a great.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
That's such a nice thing to do. I've only ever done it once, but I'd love to do it again. Just take it outside. The camera's mobile, isn't it? You can listen to the music through your phone, so you can do it. It's just logistics. It's just have to sort of think a bit about it.
Wow.
Have you seen the Todmobile version? It's an Icelandic orchestra and choir.
I think I'll be looking at that one next month. I've done one video on Awaken, and it wasn't my favorite of the Yes stuff. And quite frankly, it's been long enough. I don't remember why. I might have to go back and watch my own reaction. But I've got several folks asking me to do that live version with the orchestra.
It's wonderful. It really is. Yeah. But I won't spoil it.
No, but we did do that version, and
I think I'm very sentimental. Like it triggers me really quickly, like to cry with music. I've always been like that in movies, but when there's a nice score, it just happens. So it happens a lot. Actually, more than you, right?
Yeah, way
music
more.
just grabs me in a way and just like twists me. Actually, I wanted to ask you guys, since you're all musicians, like, do you actually listen to the lyrics or just the music? Like, especially you, Doug, like since you're in teacher mode, do you listen? Like, do you pay attention, or use a guitar player, or use a pianist? Do you listen to them? Do you read them? Because we don't. Right?
Not on the first
It's
listen.
so difficult to react to both. It kind of
I
throws me off.
love paying attention to the lyrics. And actually, I have fans. One of my main comments or complaints is that I pay too much attention to the lyrics. They're like,
That's funny.
The song rocks, just let it rock, man. Don't worry about what he's talking about. The thing that I'm actually specialized to do is writing music. And for years, I've been writing specifically choral music. That's what I'm known for, other than this. So I've taken over the years a few different poetry classes, and I'm really into the written word and lyrics. And so I really do. One of the ways that I think about it, I look at if it's a song that I haven't heard, I'll pull the information so I have it in front of me, name, rank, and serial number, what year the album came out, all that sort of stuff. And I'll have the lyrics and I'll read through them, and before hearing the music, and I'll make notes to myself, this is going to be a song about grief or forgiveness or grace or whatever it is. Like, what are the topics that they're choosing to include in the language?
Okay.
And then the composer in me, the composer of texted music in me, starts to think of the musical choices that I might make if I had these words in front of me. Right. And so I'm tying together, when they do this idea that corresponds with words that underlie a certain thing, they're using this as a hopeful gesture, or they're using this as a sad gesture. And you're trying to understand their musical vocabulary. And so having the lyrics alongside of it when there is some text, for me is essential.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a very good idea to have them, and maybe to read them before, because it doesn't spoil the music. Because we've done some mistakes over like we did one with Rush, Red Sector A, and we're like all dancing along.
It's a poppy song, okay?
I saw that one.
Oh my god! The comments were like, like a hammer. What are you doing? Do you even know what the song is about?
Sure.
Like, oh no.
For instance, the first Patreon video that I did, actually, it was funny when I did Octavarium by Dream Theater. There were some Dream Theater fans that was like, if this guy does the Metropolis saga, I'd pay money for that. And I'm like, put your money where your mouth is. I'm going to do a Patreon. And guess what the first video is going to be,
Metropolis.
Right? So I think that I spent a good 3 to 4 hours researching and reading in on the work, and I grabbed the entire libretto and I read through it twice, like with the different people of like, this character says this character says this. I understood the story, and then I listened to it and filmed it. So our community has really reacted to that, and because then they are like, do Operation Mindcrime next. I'm like, so it takes time to do that, but I really enjoy taking the time to do that. If I'm going to have this video like 3 or 4 or 5, 10 years from now, it's going to be my name on a video, and I want it to be as good as it can be. So yeah.
And it's a concept. It's a concept. Albums are so complex, and it is. That's so cool that you
to understand the narrative as you go. I did the same thing with The Wall. I had only heard like a couple of songs off The Wall.
I think I've known The Wall forever.
That one I did know for a very long time.
But do you understand it? Yeah.
I knew Comfortably Numb and a couple of the other ones, the main ones that were on the radio, and really didn't understand the story. And it was 20 to 25 pages of all the lyrics and background, and here's what this band member said about this and this, and
Have you seen the movie?
Have you seen the film? Yeah.
Not yet.
Oh my god, you have to.
Yeah,
you should react to the movie. It's a masterpiece. It literally is.
Yes.
We occasionally on our Discord. It's another thing that you can do on Discord. They have a built-in thing with YouTube where you can do like watch together, where like you can all like join. It's like Right. It's like having a Zoom with all of your friends, and you can put in YouTube links.
We should set up a Discord for this little group. This would be so
There
cool.
you go.
Yeah, and then invite people in.
Yes.
That would be so much fun to do a reaction video, all 4 of us together. I mean, 5.
That
Something
would be
musical
awesome.
though. Yeah.
Fun. Yeah.
I think I know, Doug, you're sort of put aside in an hour. So
yeah, I've got an evening gig tonight that I need to get to. Church rehearsals that I am leading this evening.
So I'm sort of appreciating we're sort of about 2 minutes to 10.
We're
now,
all
so
we're all in different time zones.
2 minutes to whatever it is there, not 2 minutes to midnight, but
but yeah, we are in different time zones, and we made it work.
Yes,
and I was saying every other Thursday works, just because that's the day that I'm like fully open and available. So if we do it again, I know we had said this works, but this was a lot of fun getting to know you guys.
And I have so many questions, but I respect you.
So have I. I've got loads listed up here as well. So we can leave those.
It's okay
because you're guitar players and composers, and I wanted to like ask favorite this and that, but we can leave it for the second one
another time.
And the weird thing with me as a composer, I know how the guitar works, but I'm really a noob at it. I really like that's like, I remember I was reviewing The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, and I just really was not understanding what Steve was doing. I made a comment like, I wish I could hear the guitar doing something, and the guy's like, he is doing something right now, he's just doing it in a way that you're not used to him doing it. I'm like, what is that? Like, I was, so
that's awesome.
It's cool. It really, really awesome. It continues to be just an absolute adventure. Fun. Just fun.
So, and like Dean was saying, I feel like it's like an endless supply, because even though I think Dean was saying you knew all this stuff, but then you dig a little bit deeper, and then this comes out and that comes out, and then there's so many others, and then there's a lot of new music that we always say, oh, new music is shit, nobody ever comes out, but it's not. And that's when you discover that.
I just discovered this guy like 2 days ago, and I could not believe that I hadn't heard him before. It came out like in 2020, but it just blew my mind, and I really thought I knew the best, but you never know. And it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's humbling.
Thank you.
Totally.
So we'll wrap this up. I know sort of everyone's busy and needs to get on. We'll do it again. Absolutely do it again. Check out everybody's website. I'm sure everyone's channels. Everyone, I'm sure, already does. But just a reminder, we've got Doug Helvering with the Daily Doug. Look it up. We have Dean Wolf with the Prog Dog. And Nick&Lex with Nick&Lex. Hey, I'm Jim Newstead, and we'll see you guys on the next video, whenever and whatever that is. And until then, this is all of us over and out.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.